that we recite the Vajra lineage prayers. So maybe Steve can.
是这样吗？
Ja,这是的嘞。
Wadam Chichi Shapadam Jesu Yiram Kushin Sowai Gewa Chungse Dagi Chisapa Tamche Dagi Jamshu Chirmo Sashi Pechu Jukshin Meto Dam Rira Blinchi Nide Gyamhati Sangye Shindu Mikte Puari Dogen Nanda Shimla Chipa Shu Senchen Namye Sampadam Loyi Chedak Jitawa Chechong Timon Tepai Cheki Korlo Kodu So.
Choje Lama, we just want to
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm sure we all look exactly the same as when we saw you last many years ago, right? We probably haven't aged at all. But I'm Steve, and we have a smaller group this morning because we had a large snowstorm overnight. But we're very delighted to welcome you. Thank you for coming. Please turn the wheel of Dharma.
Okay, thank you for inviting me. And it's very good to see all of you in front of me. And it's been a very long time since I last visited Portland. And maybe most of you have seen me before. And maybe some of you might not have seen me before, or maybe this is just the first time we are seeing each other. But whether you have been a student of our late Kyabche Thrangu Rinpoche for a long time, or if you have just started, so we are all under the leadership of our late Kyabche Thrangu Rinpoche, and we are all like one big family. So it's very good to be with all of you and to share some of the things that I have seen or maybe I've heard about Rinpoche with all of you. And I think most of the older students, you have been able to spend a lot of time with Rinpoche when he visited the States, and he visited quite often, like almost every year, and he spent a lot of time in the States. So you have all been very fortunate to be with him, to receive his teaching, to receive his empowerment and everything, and to be in touch with him. So I think it's been very fortunate for all of you. And even if you haven't met him, then I still think it's still very fortunate because we still have like lots of recordings, lots of books that have been written by Rinpoche or the talks given by Rinpoche. We can still go through them, and I guess it's still the same. So today's topic, I think we are talking about the life of our late Kyabche Thrangu Rinpoche, and we can start with that. And maybe before that, I think some of you may know me, and maybe some of you may not know me. So maybe I think I should give a little introduction about myself, so it will be easier for all of you to know who is speaking to all of you. So I am Wangchuk, and these days most of the people, they call me by Choje Lama, and Choje Lama is the title. and it's usually given by His Holiness the Gyalwang Karmapa, or maybe someone like Siddhi Rinpoche or Gyatso Rinpoche, basically the Karmapa and his four sons. So it's quite rare to receive this title, and I was very fortunate to be given this title almost 7-8 years back by His Holiness the Gyalwang Karmapa at KTT, Kavatriana Dharma Chakra Center in the US. And talking about myself, so my whole life I've been under the spiritual guidance of our late Kyabje Rinpoche. So my name Wangchuk was also given by Rinpoche when I was born. And when our school, the Sri Mangalip school that Rinpoche had built in Kathmandu, back then it was very small, but now it has grown into quite a large school. And we have like almost 600 students, which we provide free education, accommodation, food, and everything for the people of the Himalayan region of Nepal. And when the school first started in the year 1987, I was like one of the first students at the school. So I was like 4 back then. So I was at the school studying from 1987 till 2000. And in school, the school was built by Rinpoche. So everything that I learned at the school was all because of the grace and compassion of our Rinpoche. And after that, I went to, while I was in the school, I became a monk. So when I was in grade 6 in the year 1995, I became a monk at Thrangu Monastery. And the school is very different from other schools because we were like one of the first school and the only school back then where the monks were going to the school along with other lay students. And it was a very great mix of monastics and lay students at the school. So the monks, when we were at the school, we used to go wearing the robes, and we participated in the school and every activities at the school. So in the year 1995, I became a monk, and then I continued studying at the school. And then in the year 2000, I completed the school, and then I joined our monastic Buddhist college, which we say Sheta, and which both Steve and Tracy had also had the opportunity to learn from our Sheta. So I was there from the year 2000, and I studied there. And the Sheta was also built by our late Kyabje Rinpoche. And then after that, I was Rinpoche's personal attendant and also his secretary for quite a while. And during that time, I was able to be with him, travel with him. And during that time, I was able to visit Portland. That was quite a long time back. And during that time, I think I've met most of you. And some of you might remember me. Some of you might not remember me. And since it's been almost 20 years, we all have changed a lot. So maybe the image that you have of me back then, I was very young, very thin, and I think maybe very different back then. And then in the year 2008, I went to our traditional 3-year retreat, which was again built by our late Kyabje Rinpoche. So from 2008 to 2011, I joined the retreat. And then after retreat, again, I continued being Rinpoche's attendant and secretary. And then in the year 2015, Rinpoche, when I think he realized that it's quite difficult for him to manage all the monasteries here in Nepal and India, and then with so many of our Dharma institutions all abroad. in the West, in Asia, everywhere. So he appointed me to look after the monasteries and schools and other institutions here in Nepal in the year 2015, in like February or maybe something like March. So I was appointed as the chairman of our organization here, which is Namo Buddha Buddhist Meditation and Educational Center. So this was the organization that Rinpoche had built here in Nepal, and all his institutions, whether the monastery or the school, are all under this organization. So I was appointed as the chairman of this institution, and within 1 or 2 months after I was appointed, it was very unfortunate for all of us because we had the very big earthquake here in Nepal in April. So within a month or two of me being appointed, it was a very big challenge for me, because our monastery in Namabuddha and our monastery in Bodha, the nunnery that we have in Jambu, and then the school were all had some of them were damaged, some of them like collapsed, and some of them had some little issue. So I had to take responsibility for all of them. And but back then we had Rinpoche, so it wasn't that much of a problem for us. Because of his blessing, we were able to renovate and build everything that was broken during the earthquake. So the things went quite okay after that, and maybe seeing all this renovation and rebuilding process. So I think Rinpoche had more faith and more belief that I might be able to continue his legacy, I guess. And then in the year 2018, Rinpoche asked me to see His Holiness Ligong Kamapa in the US, and he asked just to see him, and I had no idea. And when I saw him, he said I saw him in the New York downtown, but then His Holiness Ligong Kamapa told me to come at KTT monastery. So after a few days, and then I went up there, and then in the monastery he gave me the title of Choje Lama, and hoping that I would carry on the legacy and everything that Rinpoche had built, so that we can continue it smoothly. So he gave me the title of Choje Lama in KTT. And then when I came back from the US, the monastery was very elated or very happy to have one of our monk to be appointed as a Choje Lama. Maybe this is like the first time one of our monk from our monastery is given the title of Choje Lama, which is most likely the highest title that a monk can get in Kamakavi tradition. And other title, you are born with them. Maybe you are born as Tulku or something like that. But then the title that you are able to earn yourself in this lifetime so actually these titles are just like outer did I say appreciation or something? Not very sure what. It's not very important, but still, when we look from outside, this is like one of the highest title that someone can get in our Kamakavi tradition. So the monastery had like quite a big celebration when I came back, and when Rinpoche was also back here in Nepal. So the same year, when we had the celebration, Rinpoche appointed me as his regent. So he not only for the monasteries and schools here in Nepal and India, but also for all the institutions that Rinpoche built during his lifetime in Asia, in Europe, in the West, US, Canada, everywhere. So I was like appointed as the regent for Rinpoche. But back then, when Rinpoche was alive, I was not really comfortable coming in front of people. I still did what I was supposed to do, but some people knew me, some people didn't know me, and it wasn't really easy for me to talk about myself. So I was more like just being with the crowd of the monastery. But then when Rinpoche was diagnosed with serious illness in the year like almost 2.5 years back. So I was taking care of everything. And after he passed away, then everything that was being done in the monasteries and our institutions. So I was taking like the main responsibility. And only after that, most of the people saw me, I guess. So I was like more in the front of the activities. And some people thought that since they haven't seen me, they thought that, or maybe I had just come from somewhere in the monastery. Or some people, because I was not able to go to every center built by Rinpoche. So some of the students, they didn't know me. Some of the students, they had no idea about me, but some, they knew me. But whether they know me or whether they didn't know me, but gradually people started to know me and know me. And after that, so I took care of the main responsibility for everything, whether the school, the monasteries, the Dharma institutions, and everything, and had to take care of all the prayers that we did after the passing of Rinpoche. And not only that, we also had to build the reliquary stupa. So that was I had to take the full responsibility and the collected work of our late Captain Rinpoche, which we have 32 canons. So I guess in the last century, that is like the biggest volume of collected work of someone in our Buddhist tradition who had composed such a lot of books by one author. So that was also I was like one of the main responsible. But of course, since Rinpoche had built the monastery and school and he had guided a lot of monks and nuns, everything in the monastery. So I'm just like the face of the monastery, but everything was done by all the monks and nuns of the monastery. But sometimes people only see my face, but actually that's not the real case. Even for the books, we have like a whole big team, Kimpos, retreat masters, the monks. They were all very helpful, the translators and everyone. And even for Reliquary Stupa, we had a lot of senior monks. We had Lobsang Dorje, whom I think most of you know, Rinpoche's personal attendant for a very long time. So they helped a lot to build the stupa. And anyway, but at the end, the stupa also came out quite well. The collected work of Rinpoche also came out very well. And now things are going quite okay in the monastery. Maybe not better, but at least we are still moving in the same direction that Rinpoche had guided us. We are still going strong in our school, in our Buddhist college, in our retreat centers, in our monasteries. We can probably say that even after Rinpoche's passing, we are still able to continue with the legacy that Rinpoche had shown us. And then now talking about Rinpoche. So I think all of you already know that Rinpoche was born in Tibet in the year 1933. And when he was like around 4, he was recognized as the reincarnation of Thrangu Rinpoche. And even though our monastery name is Thrangu Monastery, but the Thrangu title was not a very high Lama actually. And it was quite difficult for the monastery to sustain back then, long time back. So the monastery requested long time back the Karmapa to help the monastery. So he sent Thalik Yapkun Rinpoche to our monastery. So the main Rinpoche, the most famous Rinpoche in our monastery is the Thalik Yapkun Rinpoche. And the monastery's name is still Thrangu Monastery. And then after Thalik Yapkun, we have our late Kapil Thrangu Rinpoche, and then we also have Surutuku and Lotaniva Rinpoche. So we have like 4 main Rinpoches in our monastery back in Tibet. Since so the monastery started during the time of the 7th Karmapa, and gradually maybe during the 8th, 9th, 10th, we had these Rinpoches coming up. And Thrangu Rinpoche was actually not like a very senior position to Rinpoche. And he studied in Tibet. He completed his Buddhist college or Sheta in Tibet. And after all the political turmoil in Tibet, so he had to flee Tibet. And like all other Kamakagyu Rinpoches, he also came to Rumtek, where His Holiness the 16th Karmapa were residing with the 4 main regions of Kamakagyu tradition. And they were all very young, and they all had to be guided. They all had to be taught because they were very small. And when we are choosing someone to be a teacher for these kinds of great teachers or great Rinpoches, just having a very good knowledge only is not enough. So we need to have like a very good motivation. We need to have like a very good behavior as a monk. And we had to have all these different qualities to be as a teacher for these great Rinpoches. And from all the Rinpoches, the 16th Gyalwang Karmapa thought that our Rinpoche, even though he was not like a very big title Rinpoche, he saw that our Rinpoche was definitely the best among all the senior Rinpoches back then. So the 16th Gyalwang Karmapa personally requested our Rinpoche to be the main teacher for 4 of them, Shyama Rinpoche, Siddha Rinpoche, Jamgu Rinpoche, and Gyaltsa Rinpoche. So Rinpoche, while he was in Rumtek, and he taught them, and he was able to guide them, everything, teach them all the different texts of our Tibetan Buddhism, the main text. And while he was in Rumtek, there was like a very big exam for all the Tibetan Buddhist masters in India back then. So from Kamakagyu, our Rinpoche was sent there. He did the exam, and he did it very well. And he was very hugely celebrated by all the monks who had come there from the Gelugpa, Sakya, Nyingma, Kagyu, all of them. So again, when he was back in Rumtek, so he was highly respected. So from this, what we have to understand is sometimes when people are able to do a lot of great benefit for others, or maybe different activities. Because sometimes people think that just having the title, Rinpoche was able to do that. Actually, it is not like that, because, like I said, it wasn't like a very well-known title, the Thrangu Rinpoche, but only during his lifetime he was able to make this title very famous, very well respected among all the Buddhist community. So while he was in Rimtek, he taught all these masters, and not only them. These days we have Sangye Rinpoche, who's very famous here in Nepal and India and Bhutan, and Dzogchen Pano Rinpoche, and all of them were also taught by our late Khenchen Thrangu Rinpoche. So basically, like most of the Rinpoches who are like above 50 or early 60s or older than that, those were all taught by our Rinpoche. And now we can see them flourishing all over the world, teaching, making the Dharma centers, making the Buddhist teachings very easy to reach for all of us. So Rinpoche had a very big contribution to that. And then after like 10, 15 years in Rimtek, when the 16 Gyalwang Karmapa came to Nepal for pilgrimage, so Rinpoche was like one of the attendants. So he traveled with the 16 Gyalwang Karmapa, and at that time, Siddha Rinpoche, Vajra Rinpoche were also with them, and they were doing pilgrimage here in Nepal. And on one of the trip, they all went to Namabuddha. That was like, I guess, early 1970s. And when they were in Namabuddha, the 16 Gyalwang Karmapa told his retinue back then that, oh, this is such a holy place, such a wonderful place. And it's a very big shame that we don't have a thriving Buddhist community here at a holy site like this. And he was very disheartened. And during that time, so Rinpoche decided that, oh, since this was said by the 16 Gyalwang Karmapa, who is his root guru, and he made the determination that I will be making a monastery here, and I will try to put a lot of effort so that in the future there will be a thriving Buddhist community here. So after the pilgrimage, and they all went back to India, and then again Rinpoche came here. They started looking at the process of buying the land, trying to build something over there. But then most of this Rinpoches back then, or most of the senior Tibetan or Nepali community back then who were in Kathmandu, they didn't like the idea of having a monastery in Namabuddha, because during that time, Nepal was way underdeveloped. It is still underdeveloped, but back then it was extremely underdeveloped. And there were no road to Namabuddha, and they had to drive to Tulikil. And from Tulikil, it is like almost maybe 8 or 9 kilometers to Namabuddha. And we had to walk to the monastery. And the place was also like very dense forest. So it seemed like it wasn't very safe. So many Rinpoches and older people back then suggested or told Rinpoche with good motivation that it won't be a good idea to have monastery there, because at first the place is very far with no road, and then second, nobody will be willing to go there, and then the third one is there's no water, proper water at that place. So they all suggested Rinpoche not built. But Rinpoche, with his strong faith and devotion to the 16 Gyalpa, he didn't listen to any of them. So he just made the commitment that it's a wish by his root guru, and no matter what, he have to fulfill it. So he started buying the land, he started making the monastery, and gradually the things became much better. Now we have roads all the way to the monastery, and back then it took like 6-7 hours just to get to the monastery from Kathmandu. But now we can get to the monastery within 1.5 hours, maybe 15 minutes like that these days. So now it's not very far. And we have like a very strong Buddhist community over there. And Naman Buddha is like one of the main activity of our late Kyabje Rinpoche. And it is still going very strong. We were able to do all of the main prayers for Rinpoche after his passing, his reliquary stupa, and his cremation, all at that sacred place. So for us, Nama Buddha is not only connected with the Buddha, but also with our root guru. So for us, it is like the most sacred for us who have been following Kyabje Rinpoche. And Nama Buddha, maybe some of you know, some of you don't know, but that is like the one of the most holy sites here in Nepal. And like all of us know about Buddha, and during one of his previous life, he was born as a prince, and then he was born near Nama Buddha. So he was going on a picnic to Nama Buddha with his father king, his brothers, and all of them. So they went there. And so I'll just tell in a very short way because I guess most of you have already heard. And while they were there, while they were enjoying the picnic, when he was walking out, he saw a tigress who was very hungry with 5 cubs. And he saw them, he felt pity. So he asked his brothers what to the tigress eat. And his brother told him that, oh, they eat meat and flesh and blood and like that. And he looked around, he couldn't find anything. So all him and his brothers, they just left. But then he came back and then he offered his body to the tigress. And he passed away in that place in one of his previous life, the Buddha. So for us, Nama Buddha is like the place where Buddha first had the bodhicitta, where he did something for others without any personal attachment, solely for the benefit of others. Because even now, most of us, we do something for others, but most of the time, when we check properly or when we look properly, there is sometimes like a little hidden agenda for all of us. Sometimes we want to be seen doing something good, or maybe we want to be told that, oh, you are such a good person, you are such a kind person, or maybe you're a very honest person. Sometimes, most of the time, maybe we do have that little ego whenever we are doing something. But that was the first time when the Buddha in his previous life did something all for the sake of somebody else. And because of that, that is the place where his bodhicitta was born. So that is why we consider it a very important place. And because of that, His Holiness the Kyong Karma Baba wanted to have a monastery there. And because of his wish, Rinpoche built a monastery there. And at present, we do have like 3 monasteries, but in total, we have like almost a little more than 700 monks in total in Thrangu Monastery. So we have the monastery in Varanasi. Also, that is the place where Buddha first gave his teachings. Varanasi is in India. And then we also have another monastery in India called Pulari. That is the place where Marpa Milaripa's teacher, he went to India and he received teaching from Narapa. So that is also like a very sacred place, very important place. So we also have a small monastery there. So in total, we have two small monasteries, one small monastery and one big monastery in India. And then we have three monasteries here in Nepal. So the monks, all of us, we travel around all these different monasteries, depending on our schedule, depending on our responsibilities. Sometimes one monk might be helping in the monastery in Lamabuddha, but then again, within a year or two, he might be moved to the monastery in India or maybe to a different monastery. So basically, in our monastery, built by Thrangu Rinpoche. So in total, we have like almost a little more than 700 monks now. And then Rinpoche also built a nunnery in the early 1990s. And our nunnery, again, I think it is a very special nunnery. Some of you might know or heard about nunneries here in Nepal and India. But what we have in our nunnery, I think, is very special. Because in our nunnery, we have the exact same program with as the monks, because we also have the monastery where the nuns they do the same prayers as the monk, and not only that, we also have the same Buddhist college. Our Buddhist college for nuns is in Lumbini, and we have the same curriculum. So all the nuns they also have the opportunity to learn all the text that the monks are learning. And not only that, we also have the 3 years retreat for nuns, which is in Manang, and a nunnery with uh, nuns who do the prayers and who are learning the Buddhism, and a Buddhist college, and a retreat center. If you look around, it is quite difficult to find here in Nepal or in India. It's quite rare to have a nunnery having all these three different activities. So we have like almost 300 nuns at present, including the nuns in the monastery and the higher Buddhist college and the nuns in 3 years retreat. And other than that, one of the main activities of Rinpoche is the school that he built. And yes, the nunnery now, the main person in charge of the nunnery is Tuktam Rinpoche. I'm sure all of you know him. And we all have one senior monks or nuns in charge of these different institutions. So for the nunnery, so the main person in charge is Tuktam Rinpoche. So he is taking care of all the nuns. And the other main activities of Rinpoche is the school that he built in the year 1987. And at present, we have like almost 600 students studying there, including the students who are boarders, who live there, eat there, sleep there. So basically, like they are there almost the whole year. And since they come from very far away places, and even if Nepal is a very small country, but because of the underdevelopment, it is very difficult for them to go back to the village. When we have like 2 weeks holiday, for them to just get to the village, uh, sometimes it takes like 5 days to 6 days. And to go there for 5 6 days and come back 5 6 days, that's already like 10 12 days. And then just to be at their village for like 2 3 days, it doesn't make much sense for them. And the other problem is when they go back to the village, sometimes their families they pressure them to get married at a very young age. And I guess that is also one of the reasons they don't want to go back, because they want to study. And after their study, after they are able to stand on their own feet. Maybe they want to get married, maybe not that early. So most of them, they don't want to go back to the village. And when they are studying in the school, so they will just stay at the school during some holiday, during winter holidays. So they will just be at the school, most of them. But then some of them who are not very far, they do go back to the villages. And for now, we have like almost 600 students at the school. And we provide education till high school. When I was studying, the high school was the 10th grade, according to the rules of Nepal. But now things have little changed. It's 12th grade, and we do have like till 12th grade, the high school. And we have Lama Acharya Sangpo, and we have Shili Blay, the two main persons who are taking care of the school. And the school is also being run very well. The things that are taught at the school are also going very smooth. From the exam that we do, the 12th grade exam is not held at the school. We have to, all the schools in Nepal, we have to go to a different school, and then we all have to do the exam together. And this year, last year, and the year before that, we had like 100% like pass student, and from 100% we have like almost 90% of the students who received like A plus grade, and then there were like 5 or 6% who were like A, and then 1 or 2% who got like B plus grade at the school. So from the result, we can see that the school is doing very well. And the other thing about the school is like, even though Rinpoche was not able to go to a school when he was young, he did speak English quite fluently, should I say. I think the older students, when Rinpoche visited US, the States, when you visited him personally, he used to speak to most of you in English, but only like when he was giving talk or when he was giving teachings, we had a translator back then. And also sometimes, like even when I was with him in, not in Portland, but when I was in Ellsworth with Rinpoche in the year 2004 or something like that, our translator back then, or maybe not 2004, maybe something. That time, the translator was Peter Robert. He was a little sick one day, and Rinpoche, he himself taught for one day without any translator. So I think some of you might have the fortunate opportunity to be during that time when Rinpoche gave the teaching without any translator. And he did speak English, but gradually it wasn't very easy for him. So the translators and all of them had put in so much effort. So it was also very good for the translators and also a little easier for Rinpoche when he spoke in his first language to give the teachings. So Rinpoche did understand the value of having modern education. So when he built the school in 1987, so we were the first monastery to have a school where the students and the monks had the opportunity to learn English, to study maths, science, and everything. And that was like completely unheard of back then. Most of the people, they believed that the monks should only focus on Buddhism and nothing else. And when Rinpoche built a school, and when he sent all the monks, because the monastery that we have in Kathmandu and the school that we have in Kathmandu is quite near. When you walk, it's only like 10 to 15 minutes. And all the monks who went to the school, we had to like queue. When I was going to the school as a monk, we had like around 70 monks back then who went to the school. So we all had to queue up from the monastery. We went to the school early in the morning, and then after the school, we came back to the monastery. All of 70 of us, we came back in a very long queue, came back to the monastery, and again joined puja, prayers, and we had to also do the school homework, and we also had to do the Buddhist practices back in the monastery. So we had little more things to be done, but it was very useful for us. And back then, we didn't know how important or how magnificent it was. Because now, when I meet other Rinpoches, other teachers, other senior monks, I hear a lot of things about the school. And like after Rinpoche's passing, we had the 42nd Sakyatism, the younger son of the Sakyatism, who is the head of the Sakya lineage. So he built a school in, I think maybe like only 8-9 years back, or maybe 7-8 years back, something like that. And he, when he came to a monastery for Rinpoche's cremation, and he learned more about Rinpoche, what Rinpoche did, how he made all these monasteries, how he was able to uh, upkeep all this tradition. He was very surprised with the school because he said that he like is one of the highest ranking. Actually, we don't have rank, but these days we do consider like a ranking. Like he is like the most highest rank Sakya-tugu, the Sakyatism or the Sakya throne holder, should I say. And even him, and he is perfect in English, he speaks Hindi very well, very high title, everything, all the circumstances perfect for him. And even for someone like him, when he built a school only 8-10 years back, he said he faced a lot of difficulties from his Dharma peers, should I say, Dharma brothers, from other Rinpoches, Drugus, Khenpos, because they didn't want him to have a school for the monks, because they thought that we are moving away from our traditional education, because we are not putting all our effort on Buddhism, but we are swaying away from our main activity. So he said that even for someone like him, it was very difficult. Still, now he still faces a lot of problem because he built the school. And he was very surprised that for someone like Thrangu Rinpoche, and that also like almost 40 years back now, had the idea of building a school and giving the monks all this modern education. He said that it was beyond his wildest dream. A monk who had come from Tibet with no knowledge of any modern education had the idea of building a school. So he said that it was way beyond his imagination, whatever Rinpoche have done. Of course, all the other activities, but the school, he was very intrigued by it. And not only that, like the last few years, I met quite a few Rinpoches. There's one very respected Nyingma Rinpoche, whose name is Lhatu Rinpoche. And he is like maybe like 5-10 years older than me. He also used to live in Bodha, and he was back then he was like in his early teens. And when he was in Bodha, he used to see all these young monks lining up early morning, going to school with all this big bag, and early morning going to the school, in the afternoon coming back. Every day when he saw that, he was very fascinated. And he also made up his mind that when he become older, since he was a true Guru, he is for sure going to have a monastery, have his disciples, his students, and everything. He made up his mind that before building a monastery, he will definitely build a school so that the students, the kids, will be able to get more education. So it was not only the school, but the monks going from the monastery to the school was putting all these ideas to the environment of Kathmandu. And not only two of them, there were like lots of people who were not monk or nun. And back then, even the Tibetan families, Nepalese families, most of them didn't give much importance to education. They all thought that, oh, maybe we should just do farming, or maybe we should just have a shop, or maybe we should just run a restaurant, something like that. This education is not very important. But when they saw all the young monks going to school, they had the belief or recognition that, oh, the education is very important. So the school kept a very important role in making or believe that, oh, the education is very important to a lot of people in Kathmandu. So now quite a few monasteries have schools. And I think maybe around 12 of the monasteries or 13 monasteries have school, but like a very proper school, uh, it is still quite rare for monasteries to have. But our school is being run very nicely, very properly. It is going very smooth. And like I said, now we have like almost 600 students there, including the boarders and the day scholars. And even the nunnery is also going strong. So these are all like Rinpoche's activities. And the activities or biography that we talk about in our tradition or Tibetan Buddhist tradition and the Western tradition, should I say, is little different. Because in Western tradition, all of you consider the dates to be very important. Or 1933 he was born, 19 something something he went to school, 19 something something he completed his college. So all these dates, the year, month, date, so these are like given huge priority in the Western tradition. But in our tradition, maybe it is our lack of understanding, or maybe it is our fault. We are not very careful with the dates. So we are more focusing on his activities or her activities, whomever practiced long time back, and what they did, how they were able to contribute to the Dharma, whatever they did. So because of that, these days sometimes we have a very big problem. All the dates are very mixed up. Sometimes you see a different date, and sometimes you see different years. So everything is mixed up. So when the Westerners, when they look at the biographies of not of Rinpoche, but like the ancient Indian masters or Tibetan masters, they don't see it like a complete, proper biography. Because when you see one book, because we have like few biographies of the same person, in one biography, the year of the birth is different, and then another biography, it is going to be different. And when he was born is different. When she is going for pilgrimage, or when they gain the realization, everything is a little mixed up. So maybe it is wrong, or maybe it is not that important. But obviously, when we have the proper dates, it's way more better, I guess. And even for someone like me, I'm not very good with the dates. But what Rinpoche has done, what he is doing, we have all seen it through our eyes. and we see how important and how beneficial it was for the benefit of the Buddhists in general and Kamakagi tradition in particular. And even with his very limited English, he was able to give a lot of teachings in the West and in Europe, and also in different Asian countries. He didn't speak Chinese, but he was able to have lots of students, give lots of teachings. So these were all because of his pure motivation and his understanding of Buddhism. So the main, of course, for someone like Rinpoche, the main important is the motivation and then the understanding of Buddhism. And then after that, obviously, if someone can speak different languages, it is going to help a lot. And of course, these are all like what he did during his lifetime, which is quite easy for all of us to see. And back then, like even it was quite not that easy for me to understand or realize that because we call our Rinpoche, which means like precious gems or wish-fulfilling jewel or something like that. And we used to say that whether they are there or whether they are not there, they always fulfill our wishes. And I thought I knew about that, but I think now looking back, I didn't have the proper grasping of that. It was just my mistaken understanding, should I say that, or I just believed that I understood what Rinpoche meant. But from deep down, I think I didn't have the proper understanding of Rinpoche. Because what happened is, of course, when he was alive, we saw what he was capable of. And then during his later, last few years, he was not able to move very properly. Some of you might have heard, some of you might have not heard on, but he did walk, he did move around, but it was quite difficult for him to travel around. So because of that, he didn't travel for a few years. Last few years of his life, he didn't come to US, he didn't go to Canada or anywhere. So he was in Nepal. But even though he was not able to move very well, he was not able to talk very well. His speech was also little not very smooth. But still, just because he was there, the activities were going very well. And him just being there without giving teachings, without meeting anyone, being there in the monastery and not being there in the monastery, it's very different. Because we think that, oh, Rinpoche is there, nobody is able to see him, nobody is able to receive teachings from him, and he is there in the room, and now not having him, maybe it's going to be the same. But actually, it is not like that. It is very different with everything in the monastery. The presence, the aura of just knowing that Rinpoche is there, all the students, all the monks, nuns, whenever they are there, they had like way more motivation and devotion than not having him there now. And that was like a very different experience that I personally felt. And not only that, even after Rinpoche's passing, we think that when they pass, then there's not much they are able to do. But again, that was also a very big mistake, because after Rinpoche, when he became sick and when he passed away, what we saw was, because before that, Siddha Rinpoche, Gyaltsen Rinpoche, they were all in India. They couldn't travel. They were stuck in India. But because of Rinpoche's passing, they were able to come to Nepal to be with us, to join in the prayers, to lead the prayers, to lead the cremation. And they were able to come to Nepal and lead all these prayers and guide all of us. And because of that, all the other door for them also opened. So for someone like me, if I say that, maybe it's not very nice, maybe it's a little rude for them, Siddhar Rinpoche or Khyentse Rinpoche, but that was what I felt. But then again, the 17th Karmapa, when he gave teaching, he also told that the same thing. Because someone like Rinpoche, even when they pass away, their blessing and still carries on without us knowing or without us not knowing. We do see it from our own eyes. Both Siddhar Rinpoche and Khyentse Rinpoche came to Nepal. They were able to conduct a lot of different prayers, not only in our monasteries, but a lot of other Kamakaki monasteries. All the senior people from Nepal who didn't have the opportunity to see them, they were able to see them, receive teachings from them, receive blessing from them. And even for them, they were able to travel abroad to different countries. Now, if you all follow social medias, you can see both of them traveling to quite a lot of different countries. But all this door, the first, when it got open, was during the passing of our Rinpoche. So these are also like the blessing of Rinpoche. So even when he passed away, we see that his blessing is still there. He is still continuing with his blessings and legacy and everything. So it is very amazing for all of us. And like I always say that when we look at Rinpoche's lifetime, it is very amazing for all of us because what we see is like if we talk about books like Tibetan Buddhist books, there is, I think, almost not a single book that he has not read. Like whenever we travel to any part, any monasteries in Nepal or India, the first thing when we arrive in a monastery or in a city, he will always ask one of the attendants to go to a monastery or to the library to get the list of the books that they have. And then we try to bring it back to Rinpoche, and then he will just take all the books that he haven't read, and then he will ask us to get these books. So we bring them back, and then he will read all of them. So for one person to be able to read all these books in his or her lifetime, I think that's very impossible for any student. And then again, by looking in other way, the teachings that he have given, the teachings and empowerment, not only in Nepal and India, but all these different countries in US, Canada, South America, Europe, Asia, all these countries, he travels way too many times. And he was able to give way too many teachings, conduct a lot of empowerment. And if we collect or compile all these teachings, and if one person to give this many teachings and empowerment, if he or she doesn't do any other activities, if they had just given these teachings, we would still be satisfied. But that is just one part of his activities. And then, other than that, again, his activities of building the monasteries and schools, like all these monasteries that we now have in Nepal and India, our Dharma centers, all abroad, like even Portland Dharma centers, all this maybe he directly built or maybe he contributed. And again, looking at all this by just one person to be able to build all these monasteries and institutions, again, is way out of our imagination. And then again, the books that he have composed, like last year we were able to publish a set of books. We had 32 volumes in the set, and we all know how difficult it is to compose a book. And like when I first came to US as Rinpoche's attendant, one of Rinpoche's students gave me the Harry Potter book. He said, "Oh, you should read this. It's very interesting, very exciting, with magic, with bodhicitta and everything." And of course, it doesn't mention bodhicitta in Harry Potter, but when you read it, it does seem like it is talking about bodhicitta with all this magic and everything. And the author, who is very famous, I think J.K. Rowling, in her lifetime, maybe she has composed. In all her life, her only job is to, I guess, maybe writing novels. And she has only contributed or maybe written the Harry Potter series, maybe it's like 10, 12 or whatever. So I was only able to read the first few ones. Later I could not catch up the other series. But someone like her whole life is just composing book. And she was only able to compose maybe 10, 12, maybe 15 at the max. But her whole life is just writing the book. And when her full-time job is just writing, for someone like her, she can only compose like 10, 12, 15 like that. But then for Rinpoche, it is not like his full-time job. He had to teach, he had to build monasteries, he had to go here, go there. He had to study and participate in a lot of things. And still, he was able to compose 32 books. And most of these books are way bigger than one volume of Harry Potter series. If you compare one Harry Potter book and then one Rinpoche's one book, it's way bigger, more word and everything. So from that also we are able to see that, oh, it's unimaginable, whatever you did. Maybe, I think, when we talk or when we read about J.K. Rowling, we think that, oh, in her lifetime, she did a very great job composing all these 10 books, 15 books. We are satisfied with that. But when we are talking about Rinpoche, so that is just like a very minor activity. It is just like maybe 10% or 12% of his contribution to his lifetime when he ended up composing 12 big volumes of text. So from that also we can see that, oh, it is unimaginable for someone like me, especially, who is very ordinary, to see what Rinpoche has done. And we all talk about the degenerate age when we are talking about Buddhism. I'm sure all of you have heard about degenerate age. We say that, oh, now the Dharma is diminishing. The will to study, the will to practice, these are all diminishing. The teachers are diminishing. And for that, I think I'm going to be a perfect example for all of you to know that it really is diminishing, because now I am his regent, and what Rinpoche had and what I have. When you see, it is very easy to see that the degenerate eon is really coming, and it is going on. So it is very easy for all of you to see and realize that, oh, the things are really not going very well, and there is not much time. We should focus on the time that we have. We should study, we should practice, because the things or the teachers that we can get is only going to get worse and worse and worse. There's already like a very huge gap between Rinpoche and me. And maybe the next time, if it is just getting worse and worse, then definitely the things will not be very well in the future for Buddhist practitioners. So it is all of our responsibility to not waste our time that we have and to practice the Dharma, to listen to the teachings by Rinpoche and everything. And we do have all these texts in Tibetan, but we don't have most of them in English language, but we do have few of them. So I guess all of you can still read those, and we do have some of them on our Thrangu Media YouTube channel where Rinpoche is teaching. Some of them they do have translation in English. So if you are able to give time, listen to them, I think it is going to be very beneficial for all of you to listen to them, to go through them, to analyze them, and to understand them. And when we have a community of our Dharma brothers and sisters, we can always discuss among us and see what we don't know. We can share with our Dharma brothers and sisters. Sometimes they will know way better than us. Sometimes we are able to teach them. So it is very important to have this Sangha members where all of you join together, practice together. And I think it is very important to carry on with whatever we have. And we hope we will have Rinpoche's reincarnation very soon in the future. And all of you who are able to be with Rinpoche before, I think all of you are very fortunate. And even if you have met, like I said, you can still read the books, listen to his teachings, and it is not much of a big difference. We all pay very huge respect to the Buddha, to Milarepa, and all of this. But we have never seen them. We only pay respect to them because we have read about their biographies, or maybe we have read the text that they composed. So just like that, we still have Rinpoche's teachings, Rinpoche's books, audios, videos, text, written, everything. So even though his physical body has passed away, his teaching is still with us. And we are able to listen to them, practice them. There is not much to worry when we have all these teachings left by Rinpoche. So we should continue learning them. And I guess that's all for now. And if you have any questions, then please feel free to ask, not only about today's subject, but even if you have any questions about other things, please feel free to ask. If I'm able, then I'll try to answer. If I don't know, then I'll say I don't know. And yeah, sorry, today I'm not in the monastery. So we are having the Losar holiday. And I'm on a pilgrimage and a little holiday. So I'm somewhere in a guest house on the highway.
Can we speak from here or should we?
Yeah, it should be okay. Just speak up.
Rinpoche, I always heard that Thrangu Rinpoche had managed to find or have lost texts brought from Tibet that would not have been recovered without his blessings or interest. Could you tell us something about how he found and preserved the Kagyu texts that hadn't been brought out yet?
There are way too many texts actually. And the lineage of Tibetan Buddhists is very long. And for 11 centuries, 12 centuries, all these different masters, they composed way too many texts. And of course, we are not able to keep all these teachings, and sometimes, of course, these days we blame everything on political things, but sometimes it is not only that. Sometimes because maybe it is the practitioner's fault, because sometimes we think that, oh, this teaching is very important and this teaching is not very important. Even all of us, like we have collected a lot of books in our life, but we have misplaced a lot of them, all of us. So from our own experience, we do know that it is not only others, sometimes it is our own mistake that, just like us, I think practitioners before us, they also, like when they are saying or believing that one particular text is very important, they tend to lose or the other text, and they get lost. And of course, in 1,000 years, there are many texts which were composed and which were lost, and some of them sometimes people are able to find, sometimes they are not able to find. And Rinpoche, when he was traveling in Tibet, when he was going to different monasteries, different houses belonging to different students, he was able to see them, because for most of us, even when we see a book, we will not be able to identify that, oh, this is a very rare item. We might think that, oh, this is just normal. But someone who is very learned, they are able to realize that, oh, this is text that we had never published, or which we don't have in Nepal and India. And I've never seen this book being published, even in Tibet. So it was easier for Rinpoche when he was very learned. So he could identify, and then he will try his best to get it back in Nepal or India, where we can rewrite it or retype it, and then we are able to print them. So I guess it is like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Choge Lama, is the stupa completed now at Namo Buddha?
After Rinpoche's passing, what happened is, like, since we have so many institutions here in Nepal and India, and everybody wanted to build one. And then what happened was, because like there are many different kinds of stupas. There are like enlightenment stupa, there's the teaching of stupa, there's the passing of the stupa. And we had like a small meeting, and then we decided that we will build 8 proper stupas, like 8 main stupas. And we had like 8 different institutions who wanted to build the stupas here in Nepal and India, excluding Tibet and our overseas Dharma centers. So the institutions here in Nepal and India, we all of them wanted to build. And obviously the main one we built in Namabuddha, which is completed and was blessed by Kelsop Rinpoche last year. And the other 7 stupas, we have already built one in Bodha, and then we have already built 2 in Nar, which is like the border between Tibet and Nepal. It is quite far. If you have to walk, if you take a heli, then it's very near. Yeah, you get there within an hour. But if you are walking, then it takes like 3 days, 4 days to get there. So we built 2 stupas there, and then we are still building the one in our Buddhist college Jetta in Varanasi, and the one in Pulari. We are still building it, and it's almost half complete. And the one in Varanasi, we are hoping to complete it by the end of the year. And we have requested Siddha Rinpoche to bless the stupa. So we are hoping he will come early 2027 So we just said that anytime that he feels comfortable within the early 2027, because during the summer it is way too hot. We get like around 48, 49 degrees in Varanasi. Steve and Tracy, I guess they will know. Others, you will not know how hot it is. It is way hot, and so we can only do it during the winter. And you might think that, oh, even if it is really hot, we can put on the ACs or cooler like that. But again, even in India, we don't have proper electricity. So you will have any moment, you will have an electricity, then again, within a few minutes, it's off. And then if you are used to the air conditioner, then when there's no electricity, then it is way too difficult to survive over there. So the blessing is going to be maybe in 27, in January, February, March, something like that. So it is being built, and this 24, the retreat center, I completely forgot to talk about it. So we have like a proper 3 years retreat center in Nepal. And not only that, we also have like a 21-year course over there. And we have like almost 200 practitioners there. Among them, we have like more than half of them, or maybe around half of them, who have completely made the decision to practice for their whole life over there. So they are practicing there, and some of them they are like made the decision to practice for 12 years, 20 years like that. And most of them are for like very serious long-term practitioners. But again, we do have the 3 years retreat, the traditional Kamakagi way. And we are having one group of them being completed on this 24. So they are coming out, and a new group of students are going there. And we will have a ceremony on 24th. And 25th, I'm going to India, Varanasi, because of the stupa in Varanasi and Pulari. So we will have few days of puja both in Varanasi and Pulari for like a week. So it is still going on, the temple, the stupas in India. So among the 8, around half is complete and half is not yet complete. But the one in Namabuddha is absolutely complete.
Thank you.
Choje Lama, it's so nice to see you again. Thank you for the
Yeah.
teaching today. It's so good to see you. Do you have any information about the search for the rebirth of Khenchen Thrangu Rinpoche? Is there a search committee?
Nothing yet. Now is 0. So there's nothing now. And we have requested His Holiness the 17th Gyalwang Karmapa to lead us in finding the reincarnation. And now it's just a little more than 2 years. And I think it's still very early. And we do request him like once or twice every year. And even him, it is not like he can just say that, oh, it's here. I think he also needs to see his dreams, his belief, motivation, and everything. He also needs to have a sign. It is not something that when we force him, then he can give us more quickly. So we are just taking the time. And I think I may be wrong, but from what I understand, His Holiness the Gyalwang Karmapa believes that most of the time when the reincarnation, when they are recognized very young, they don't have the affection with their parents very well, because they are brought to the monastery like when they are 1, 2, 3 like that, and the bonding between the reincarnation and the parents is missing. So he, I think, believes that it is very important for the kid to be with the parents when they are an infant. So I may be wrong, but that is what I believe. So I think it is still going to take some time, but we are fully dependent and we fully trust His Holiness 17th Kyong Karmapa. And right after Rinpoche's passing, all of us, like Tugulutu Nyima Rinpoche, Suru Rinpoche, and the senior monks and nuns from our monastery, we all and made the decision that it's only the 17th Kyong Karmapa who is going to lead us, and we'll follow the 17th Kyong Karmapa.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else?
Well, Choje Lama,
Okay.
before we end,
Yeah.
could we practice the prayer for Thrangu Rinpoche's rebirth with you?
Okay, sure. Which one do you normally practice? Because we have too many.
He says, which one do you normally do? They have a lot of them.
Oh. Oh.
Karmapa.
Karmapa.
One by His Holiness Karmapa.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
Why don't you go to the other side? No, in Tibet.
Nam tong sung jo kyu nero gargi si shi yong ki kyap tak dor je chang yang me la me chap la chap sa lo ting ring kor wei ja so chi rum war lei nyan chu sim bum di se pai Nam ta tro kun tro pe pa wo che pa chi je sun la ma de ring dren kien no drin chen shu ki je sik shik yong zin ma wei sen ten droi de ki mar me num se tar gyur pe du dir se we gong su so ke sum sam poi lu to rap ke shing tu sam gong pe yu ra gung du se Jesus pe ke dong tum po chen ma we sen je la yang nu chu so how do nam le da po ka ju dam ju ju yong le karma kam sang gi she dam dru pe ju sam ser ki chen mi nam kal we je bu nur jun so Lord men shin me ka gyu ra me so til ji jang bu che wa ta bu yi je sun la me tu je rap ku te Trupe dashar nudu charwarzu Palchen mahakala chandraldam Trepadun chu sani ponarche
Chogi Chokun Nima Shanugam Shingdir Drenpe Sungwa Nyerzogchi Lama Sasung Jaksu Dentudam Dacha Lopam Bejum Sechi Pe Jintar Sowe Dhammam Malupa Drupe Drudre Luwa Mejorchi.
Dedication.
Sikani Tome Pedranam Pamchene Kega Nachi Varla Trupai Sipe Sole Drowa Sho.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. All of you have a very good day ahead.
Good luck.
Yeah, and a very good year ahead.
Yes,
Okay, same to you.
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.